This entitled mother has an insane plot to try and make a family member a US citizen. But to do so, she's going to force her son to marry his cousin. But there is one more little secret she's not telling everyone involved. Happy birthday if today's your birthday, and on with the revamped show. I should get out of the way that I am adopted. My mother and father who have raised me are much less entitled than my birth mother, though I don't reverse the term entitled because they still have some things I would have changed. They will be referred to as EAM and EAF. My birth mother will be referred to as EBM. EBM began her relationship with me immediately on a bad foot. She began her pregnancy with me living in Florida under welfare because of her arthrogryposis. This is where my birth father lived and probably still lives. He didn't know she was pregnant with me, and without telling him, she said she had to break up with him and move to New York. People are so used to the father left mother stereotype that this is what I assumed happened, until recently, and EAM finally told me. I had an older brother who had already been born, which will become relevant later. EBM settled in New York and met a boyfriend, who I will call EBF, who was either schizophrenic or was an addict to some serious drugs, which will also become relevant later. I know firsthand that, as someone with a disability, it's hard to form relationships with sane and normal people. And again, this will become relevant later. I was born 10 weeks early due to a certain someone's error in judgment. As you can predict, I had a few problems, but these mostly recovered. The one that didn't go away was acid reflux, which I still suffer from. EBF was holding me, and I puked on him for my acid reflux. And that triggered an episode where he grabbed me by the feet and smashed me repeatedly headfirst into the bathtub. I was left with a lifelong TBI, which is the most influential aspect of my life, and this again will become relevant later. My older brother being 2 years old and EBM having arthrogryposis could only watch until someone decided to stall EBF until police arrived. I was taken to the hospital and special needles were put in my head to drain out the blood. EBF was thereby arrested. I have not met him, but if I ever did, I would wish to learn about him and why he would do that before, depending on who he is today, either forgiving him or haunt him with the image of who I am. Here is where the entitlement continues. EBM went to court, and the court was tasked to decide everyone's fate. Usually when someone is accused of childcare misconduct, all the children have the same fate and are either taken away or left in the family, but EBM appealed to her disability and guilted the judge into having me be adopted into another family, while she was allowed to keep my older brother and, get this, have and keep younger sibling, my little sister. This used to be the part that makes me angry the most. Growing up, I thought my problems from my TBI were things everyone experienced, and EAM, EAF, and EBM all took advantage of this and lied to me, saying I didn't have a disability. They also lied to me and said I wasn't adopted. I only learned when I was 18 that I was adopted. I was 19 when I learned this woman I vaguely got to know in scattered moments was my birth mother. I was 20 when I learned I had traumatic brain injury, and 25 when I learned my birth father did not intend to know of my existence. The lie that makes me the angriest is the one where they said I had no disability. Many of you might know someone who has TBI, or autism, or hydrocephalus, or someone else where their parents haven't told them they have anything wrong with this, and so they live under the reign of the blue pill, unaware that they are different from everyone else. Please take it from me, it's better if they know. It's better if they have the ability to know why people perceive them differently. It's better they know how to respond if someone doesn't know what's wrong with them. The emperor deserves to know he's naked. Perceiving that they are received well in society doesn't function to them, the same way as knowing they aren't seen well in society and being able to explain to others. The difference is awareness. So there's another half of this story. I struggled platonically my whole life, and this has crushed me. A part of this was due to being put in isolated special education classes by teachers who also knew the truth but wouldn't tell me. Teachers who would unfavorably compare me to my adoptive brother as being better than me because of my behavioral problems, which once more will become relevant later. A part of this is that romance overwhelms me. It's my inability to socialize faster than AOL because of my TBI. And a part of this is how my local village handles outcasts. But if that wasn't enough, I decided I would be happy to adopt a child too, and they would be my focus, only for the government to later put me on a parental ineligibility list. I had entered what many would call a quasi-depression or a stoic depression. I wouldn't force fate upon myself, but if my parents weren't feeding me and there was no food, well, so be it. Without hobbies, etc., if I had an income, I would serve as a dead end to that money, because there's nothing out there for me that remains untaken. So EAM recruits EBM to apply me for social security benefits due to my disability. However, I got denied all 3 times I could apply because it's a bent system. Not that I wanted it. But then, when I broke the news to EBM about being ultimately denied, she responds by saying I should never have social security, revealing her intention for me to be denied, despite her getting it due to her arthrogryposis, and despite me having my own problems working, especially in a place with so few jobs. It became clear from her demeanor that her biggest motivation of this statement was her sentiment that fakers were clotting her system of income. Around this time, she also began complaining I wasn't involved enough with my birth family, including my birth father. Up to this day, for the rest of my life, she has compared me to my other adoptive brother, again saying that because he worked despite his autism, he was better than me. However, he only works because local businesses have a disability employment philosophy where they give the easiest jobs to people with disabilities, and autism is the most covered disability in the program. TBI isn't even on the list. And I often envy people with autism because they have this big movement. All TBI people have is the world's oldest medical text from ancient Egypt. She also had the nerve to spin my quasi-depression around as justifying the notion that I, not her, was entitled, even though my quasi-depression comes from a deprivation of things I can expect from others. One day, EBM tries to distract me from my quasi-depression by taking me to a family reunion for my birth family that happens every year. I was 22 years old by that time. A short time after I showed up, everyone applauded me with enthusiasm. I asked why, and they in turn asked why I hadn't showed up at a family reunion for the past 22 years. I was ticked. Not because they asked, but they inadvertently revealed EBM had been hiding from me the existence of this reunion my whole life, and seeing all my family members grown up and ready to take on life demotivated me out of interacting with family, because I would have to play 22 years of catch-up. She became furious at my insistence that family was not worth it, and demanded that I, not her, looked for my birth father, because it was my duty. At the age of 25, I finally asked somebody why I should be obligated to find someone who wasn't interested in me, and I was informed it was EBM who left, not the other way around, and that she was too embarrassed to find my birth father. I said screw this, and after she continued to say I was entitled for wanting out, I have excommunicated her. Seeing her cry in our bathroom every Christmas and Easter because I won't speak to her doesn't strike a sympathetic chord with me. It's actually quite relieving. Some time has passed and the virus hits. They get their free money from the government, but EBM spends it on state-of-the-art technology. Soon they can't pay their bills, and I get to watch the first instance of some sense going into her. Sometimes you hear these stories and you just can't believe what some people have gone through in their life, and yet somehow they still manage to keep moving forward. It's honestly incredible. I think it helps me put things in perspective. I get anxious I'm gonna fail a test and it's the end of the world. And yet when you hear stories like this, it really helps you put things in perspective. I'm 20 and male. Cousin is 19 and female. Spanish was my first language. I have a third cousin in Dominican Republic. They are not well off, and that country and her mum is a little neglectful. At this point, it feels like my mum cares more about her than me, but whatever, she deserves it. She's a good kid who does well in school and wants to move to the US to go to nursing school. She can't, however, because she isn't a legal citizen. My mum decided it would be the best plan for me to go to the Dominican Republic in June or July and marry my third cousin to make her legal. She brought this up a few years ago, but I thought she was joking. Apparently she wasn't, because recently she brought this plan up again, but she's actually talking about how she's already booked flights for the Dominican Republic and stuff. WTF? I'm in a relationship already, and my mum literally told me that she doesn't give a frick about my personal life. All she cares about is going to Dominican Republic and forcing me to marry my cousin. Thankfully, I talked about the plan with my significant other, and they are supportive. Due to the pandemic and not knowing if it's going to get worse, I think it's safe to say we are not flying out there, but my mum, for some reason, still acts like we're still going. Basically, I marry her and stay married for a year. Then we divorce amicably. My mum pockets any money that's made from this, if any. When I try to downright refuse this was met with screaming, physical anger, and threats to kick me out. I'm afraid to go to any family members because I don't know what's going to happen. I honestly thought this was going to finish with like, there's no way that this is happening and I can't believe she's that crazy, but the fact that he still doesn't know, like, I might be forced to marry my cousin, I'm not sure guys, that's a little scary. So a little backstory. I used to be poor, $860 a month, and most of it went to helping with bills. I had to be stingy because money saved is like water in a bucket that's corked off. I'm now upper middle class rich, after free trade school. So last year I decided to get off ship and go on vacation. My crew pushing me for it actually, because I've been aboard for 11 months. So time I picked was right next to family reunion time, and it's my dad's side of the family's turn. They're the kind of people who ride quads and sand rails, so of course they choose expensive beach town number 18, Oregon. Thing is, hotels were having these massive sales to fill rooms for Labor Day weekend. So originally, my older brother and I coordinated and told my mum I was comping hotel costs. I was gonna get a super nice one for $2,000 for the weekend. One for her, one for my brother and I. This hotel was a resort casino, had only ocean views, beach access, full buffet, just stuff we can use in the off time. I also wanted to relax on a real bed. Immediately, my mum said, "Nope, your cousins," her side, "are coming, and we need a bigger room for all 4 of us." Okay, reasonable. I'm trying to be a good son. Cancelled the nice hotel and reservations for Swooped. Found a beach house for $500 a night, 5 rooms, 4 showers, kitchen, beach access, barbecue pit, dog-friendly fits 5 cars. My mum, "Well, your cousin's husband isn't coming, so we just need 2 rooms." Well, frick, okay. Cancel reservation, find a set of cabins in the woods, 2 rooms, each kitchen, and a shower, $850 a night. My mum complained that she didn't like it because it reminded her working 1 year at the parks. I worked 4, but okay. Middle of the night, my mum messages me, "I want this one. You will make reservations." Hotel was booked and had a rip-off report against us. Didn't discount me. My job gets hotel discounts. I asked why, and she got angry. She then said it was because 2 of my cousins were staying there, and she wanted to go there. Mum, it's booked. My mum pulls a Karen move and threatened to call the hotel. I told her not to, and I was running to the end of a line. My brother calls me and I'm stressed the frick out because mum demanded I ditch the cabins and she was demanding I get the booked hotel. She then said my cousin wasn't coming and so I wasn't going to pay for an unused bed. This point I took my Tums out because the stress was making me sick. I'm trying my best to make their stay nice and I'm running to my wit's end. My mum actually called the hotel that was booked and demanded they open some rooms. No. Finally, I find a hotel, $1,200 for the weekend. I get a twin bedroom with my brother. My mum gets the only luxury room. It's a California queen, tub, shower, and closet. Her room actually was the more expensive one. My mum kept demanding I give her the password and ID for the reservation. I asked why, and she didn't give me a straight answer. She then said my cousin might be coming, and I just said, "Nope, I'm done. This is the hotel. They want one, they can get their own hotel. They should have let me know a week in advance and specifically let me know themselves. I'm not paying extra rooms at this point. Next day, she demanded I give her the ID password again so she can look it up on maps. I told her the address and to stop bothering me. So, we show up, I pay for the rooms, and we wait on Mum. I get pizza for us, and my mum shows up. She hugs me and looks and says, "Geez, this place looks dated. By the highway too. You went cheap. Can you grab my bags? It's raining." My older brother stopped. "You realize he's paying for this? You know how much stress you give him? First time in his life he can afford stuff and isn't stingy, and now can afford nice stuff, and you micromanaged him to the point of him eating Tums every time we bring this up. You made fun of Dad's ex for being selfish, but you're being no better. He's paying for all of this. You're lucky he didn't just rage quit and stayed back at work. He seriously threatened many times to do that. You don't like it? You pay for your own hotel." My mum was shocked, realizing free is better than paying $145 for the weekend at a Motor Inn. Sleazy of the sleazy hotels. I got a very insincere apology and told, "The room's okay." Wow, how ungrateful do you have to be? Especially because he was originally going to give you a really nice place to stay. And it's like, oh well, that won't accommodate everybody else, so we gotta change it. And then when he tries to do every single thing to the dot, it comes back around and now it's too cheap. Well, maybe if you just let him make the generous offer in the first place, it would have actually been what you wanted. Who am I kidding? There would have been something to complain about, even if it was exactly perfect. Submit your story to be read on the channel at VoiceyHereStories@gmail.com and join our Voicey veteran community at r/VoiceyHere. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode. Alright, Voicey veterans, I'll see you in the next one.